one of the easier few EVs that I've come to drive. Nowadays, with so many Chinese EV brands entering Singapore, does this car have what it takes? Today we're taking a look at this. This is the Deepal S07 and it's one of the latest EV brands to hit our market. Let's find out more about this car. Now, if you're thinking about trading in your car to buy a car like this Deepal S07, try selling it with Quotes instead. Quotes helps you sell your car quickly and easily. With the new Quotes doorstep, get a professional inspection by our certified mechanics at your convenience anywhere on the island. Quotes will then auction out your car online to its wide network of dealers to bid on your car. Once bidding is complete, Quotes will update you with their best offer price at no obligation. It's that easy. To find out more, visit quotes.com.sg, that's QUOTZ.com.sg. Now let's find out more about this car. Now, starting off in front, this is a mid-size EV SUV, but it almost feels like a supercar when you see all the curves converge here very sharply and the very sharp headlamp cluster right here, along with this very large diffuser. It really gives off a little bit of supercar vibes. Down here you get its daytime running light LED cluster in what they call star pattern. It's a very nice distinct signature that you'll notice on the road, and a little black patch there, but that's just for design. Over down here, next to your diffuser, you have your headlamp cluster, and this is the Deepal logo. Another thing about this car, it has one of the largest fronts that we've ever seen under here, onto the side. Now, over by the side of the Deepal S07, you do get 19-inch wheels in this singular trim, and a little bump here that has a camera in other markets, but not so in Singapore. Moving down the side, you get frameless windows over by all four doors, and this is where I feel this SUV really starts to get deceptively small, because it is 4,750 millimeters long and over 1.9 meters wide. The wheelbase is 2.9 meters exactly, which is actually 10 millimeters longer than something like the Xpeng G6. Now, moving down the curves of the side, we'll follow along to the rear. Now, over by the rear, things start to look really small again. If you notice, this sporty style spoiler up here almost resembles the one on the MG4. And over here, you have a very interesting protruding high mount brake light right here. It reminds me of a Gundam, and I think that's what they're trying to go for, something techy and futuristic, which, speaking of down here, continues their star pattern taillights from the front, as well as this design right here and the Deepal logo that lights up in LED. You get sensors all around, and one sensor here and camera for your rear, as well as your 360 camera system. Now, open up the power tailgate, you're gonna find 445 liters worth of usable boot space. This is where you can see the car really extends itself. So you can check out how deep you have to stretch in to knock down the second row seats from here, and they are 60/40 folding. Now you can see it passes the luggage test and the anti-trolley length test without a hitch. No problem at all. But in terms of how deep the boot space goes, you only get a little cutout for certain tire repair systems, as well as, I believe, your V2L charger, which this Deepal S07 supports. Now, onto the inside. The Deepal S07 Electric is priced at $227,000. The single electric motor produces 215 brake horsepower and 320 Nm of torque. The single-speed transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km per hour in 7.9 seconds. The 79.97 kWh battery has a drive range of 475 km. The car has a claimed energy consumption of 5.3 km per kWh. For more details on the Deepal S07 Electric or any other car, head on to Sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. And after closing the frameless windows on your door right here, step into the rear of the cabin and you get a mat with the huge sunscreen, but with an electronic black shade cover. It comes with two color offerings for the interior, beigeish brown as well as black. I think the black overall starts to feel a little bit claustrophobic in this sense. After all, it does have that coupe SUV sloping roofline. So as a 1.75 meters tall person, this is my head space and this is my leg space for my comfortable driving position. So it actually does feel like a decent amount of space. The rest of the cabin is filled with soft touch material and a little bit of hard plastics right here. And you get Deepal branded speakers right here. You get a nice little wooden texture trim on the door right here, and they have that Chinese inverted window controls where instead of a button where you lift up or push down, it's actually a stick. So if you want the windows to go down, you actually push it like this. And these windows are double glazed, so they get a little bit more noise insulation so that you get a bit more comfortable inside here. Now, if there's nobody in the middle, you can pull down this entire middle seat for your cup holder and a little slot to hold your phone. But if the car is full up, you can simply move over. It is going to be very easy. There is plenty of space for my gigantic feet on that flat floor. And over by the middle, you're also treated to an aircon vent right here with a digital control panel to control your electronic sunshade, as well as temperature and fan speed of your rear aircon and moving the front seat. Let's check out the front. Now, over by the front, step in and you'll be treated to easy entry system, as well as what they call a 15.6-inch sunflower style infotainment display, because it gravitates to you. When you, as the driver, step inside, the screen will orientate towards you, giving you an easier viewing time. However, if you want to move the infotainment display towards the passenger, you can either use touchscreen right here, or you can say, "Hi Deepal." Right here. Turn the screen to the left. And then over up front, you get a heads-up display right here and a little bit of an etching, kind of like a city skyline, but I'm not too sure what that is. And you get, in the heads-up display, you get plenty of information: your drive gear, your drive speed, the cars around you, the lane recognition system, as well as the road sign recognition system. So there is plenty of information, but it can get a little bit cluttered. But when it comes to driving information displays, I appreciate that there's a heads-up display in addition to a display that tilts towards you. So versus some of the other cars where there's only a central screen, I think this, especially with the heads-up display, is a lot more forgiving. Now, if you move down the center right here, it is a very interesting D-cut steering wheel. And I remember back when reviewing the Xpeng G6, I felt like the Xpeng G6's steering wheel felt a little bit plain, but I think this steering wheel makes me miss the Xpeng G6's steering wheel a lot. And then down here, you get your gear shift, as well as your active cruise control and intelligent lane assist setting, as well as your lights and wipers right here. This infotainment system is going to be where you're going to find most of your other controls, including your aircon. I like that there's a static bar down here. You're going to get ventilated seats as well. However, one of my biggest gripes about this car is you're only going to get in the rear one aircon vent, and in the front one here that splits both ways. So one side for the passenger and one side for the driver. But I feel like I would really prefer if there was a secondary or even a third aircon vent, so I could have a lot more aircon. Currently, it's only one direction from here, and it does feel a little bit not enough. But inside the infotainment screen, you're going to find plenty of other modes. When you're going to park your car and you want some entertainment, you can turn on season mode. You can turn on bonfire, so there's a little bit of animation, and it actually starts to heat up, simulating a bonfire. I guess this is helpful when you're in a cold country. You can open up the treasure chest here and throw in a little firecracker or kerosene. And if you turn up the volume, so you can actually, and then the car's climate system will actually try to match that by turning up the heat. Otherwise, on the opposite end, you can go into snow mode, and then you're met with a snowman in the middle. And it's a bit gimmicky, a bit interactive. You get two sleds on the right here, so these control, I believe, your aircon controls for the left and right. So the closer you are to the snowman, the colder it will get. You can feed snowflakes to the snowman as well. And the bigger the snowman gets, the colder it gets as well. And there's this little windmill right here. The faster it spins, the faster your fan speed will become. So there are a lot of fun little things inside. Other than that, you're also going to get your typical rest mode as well as camping mode. So that's where you can sit inside the car and use the car as a mobile office or to rest while you're waiting for people. And then you're going to find a lot of your car settings inside here as well. Ventilated seats, car settings, drive modes. But other than that, because most of the buttons are missing from the car, a lot of the controls will have to be done within the system. But that being said, this is one of the cars that has a lot of customizability within the system, and even especially when it goes to drive mode, you get eco, comfort and sport, which is pretty typical for cars in this segment. But what I really like is one extra customized mode. So even for acceleration, steering, energy recuperation, you can set many various settings. And one of the more interesting things is, even with the regenerative braking settings, it is stepless from 0 to 100. So you can, from 0 to 100, all the way. I don't know if perhaps a 10, 20, 30 steps of 10% would be better, but it is an option inside here. And not to forget that this is a rear-wheel drive SUV, so if you want to have a little bit of fun inside closed roads, you have the option to turn off your electronic stability control. Other than that, you're still going to find plenty of controls like your ambient light system as well as all your safety driving systems. This Deepal S07 has Euro NCAP 5 stars. So while that is an achievement, certain things includes every time you start up the car, your road speed limit recognition is going to be turned on, as well as a bunch of all your safety systems. So if you want to have a quieter drive, if you know what you're doing, then you have to go inside the menu and turn them off every single time. Other than that, the cabin is a very simple and minimalistic kind of design. Your singular aircon vent right here, 40-watt wireless charging with active cooling, and then 2 cup holders down here, as well as a deep cubby space right here. One other key feature inside here is going to be an in-car camera, so you can just... And it has a gesture recognition. So doing that, we'll take a picture of the in-car system, and there's actually a mode where you can turn it on to look at your rear occupants. So let's say you have kids in the back, and you want to check on them while keeping your eyes on the road. This is another option. Now, for all this said and done, does this Deepal S07 drive as well as it looks? Only one way to find out. So, driving the Deepal S07, what does it feel like? Well, this is a single motor rear-wheel drive with 215 brake horsepower, 320 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 100 in 7.9 seconds. It's not the fastest, and it doesn't drive like a car that feels like the fastest. Even in sport mode, which we can access through talking to the screen intelligence agent. So, hi Deepal, change my drive mode to sport.
Okay.
So that is one of the very few things that I've seen the driving agent being able to help you do. Usually it's things like volume, media controls, aircon controls, but to change the drive mode, this is one of the nicer things. And you can also say, hi Deepal,
hello,
turn the screen to the left. Anyway, the drive inside here, inside Sport, 215 brake horsepower, it's not like it doesn't hit hard, even though it has 320 Newton meters of torque. It's a very smooth curve, both when you step on the pedal and as well as when you lift off the pedal. It has one of the more refined EV regenerative braking settings that I've ever tested. And typically, a lot of people would prefer eco or normal drive modes. I actually prefer the sport modulation inside this. And to me, overall, the driving experience of this car, it really boils down to kind of in between of a very comfortable everyday drive with a little bit of tech. It's not as techy as the Xpeng G6. It doesn't feature millimeter wave radars all around. It doesn't have automatic parking, but it has a beautiful heads-up display up front. It's not the fastest refresh, and honestly, it is a little bit cluttered, but it does show a lot of information right now, showing me my battery percentage left. It's showing me how much I'm pressing on the pedal. I can double tap down for active cruise control, and I'm seeing all the lane information, the car distance, my blind spot monitor. So there's a lot of information inside the heads-up display, which that paired together with infotainment display to face you, I feel like it's a very forgivable thing for this car to not have an instrument cluster. And I'll have to give you this one thing. When you turn on the active cruise control, one of the things that I've never seen another car do is when you're behind close to another car on the expressway, it actually lights up a little bar to show you where that car is inside your lane. So if it's leaning a little bit to the left, if it's leaning a little bit to the right, or if it's coming up too close, it actually shows you. So that gives you some added peace of mind to tell you that, hey, this car actually can see and detect the car in front, and it actually does really make this car feel a lot more tacked up. Other than that, because typically a lot of cars, even when they have active cruise control, all they have is a little logo to tell you, hey, right now you're currently a little bit too close to the car in front. So I really like that about this Deepal S07. You got a nice heads-up display, you got a rotating infotainment display. The rest of the car is kind of really quite in between. Everyday ventilated seats, sunroof on top. It's a nice feeling, but I feel like certain things could be done better. Another thing that you get when you're driving and experiencing the car is when you turn on the music. So the positioning inside here, and I'm not an audiophile by any means, so it's peculiar that this stood out to me, that when I'm sat in the driver's seat, the music comes on to my position really nicely. But even though it's the Deepal branded speakers, you can tell that it's not as clear as one of your typical other Harman Kardon or Burmester. It doesn't sound as clear as that, but the positioning of how the sound hits you actually does sound really good. So I'm really quite in between about this car. Now, if we go on to the drive, this is honestly one of the easier few EVs that I've come to drive. It feels very natural inside the hand. The steering is very communicative, it's very direct, but I would like a little bit more feedback. It's, in that sense, it could do it with a little bit more communication. It tells you, it points where you want to go. It's very precise, but I would like a little bit more feedback to feel a little bit more of the road. In terms of suspension, you're going to get front McPherson strut and then rear multi-link. So it is rather comfortable inside the cabin. However, I have to note that with a similar setup in a relatively similar segment-ish, I would have to say the MGS5 has a more comfortable cabin that soaks up the bumps more. But when you're on fast roads outside of car parks, it cruises along well. And talking about comfort and VH, inside you rather don't hear much of the noise on the outside. Just pass by a big delivery truck. It's quiet, and that's owed to their double glazed windows. And not to forget that this Deepal S07 comes with frameless windows, so you're gonna expect a little bit more noise. And right now we're even shooting with half of the sunroof open to let the light in, and I don't really hear anything. So this car really has quite a lot of qualities that I like and some qualities that I don't like. So the Deepal S07, is this a will buy, won't buy, or go try? Well, if you ask me, I think that this Deepal S07 is a go try. I kind of want to say won't buy, because in this segment it's going up against some very, very tough competition, namely BYD Sea Lion 7. You've got your different kind of segment, a little bit bigger, Xpeng G6. You've got something like the Ion V, a lot cheaper with a fridge. But this, I think, brings a unique point to the market. It's very similar to the MGS5, but this being a rear-wheel drive, very comfortable cabin as well, relatively well-spec'd sunroof, wireless Android Auto, heads-up display with a very nice intuitive system, the turning infotainment display. But yeah, at the same time, I can't help but feel like when I'm considering this, I'm also considering very closely some of its cousins. So in terms of RRP, it's going up against the Zeekr X, which is a different segment. It's kind of more like a compact SUV, and that's RRP for 200,000. And then I would also look at the Xpeng G6, which I really like for its range. I really like for its tech. In terms of the fitting, it's also a mark above this, and it's also a little bit pricier. So I kind of feel like it's a little bit sandwiched in between these very nice offerings, and that's why it's still a go try, because the more you drive it, the more comfortable you're getting used to it, especially this level 2 self-driving, 475 kilometers of WLTP range. So that is a very, very usable number, and that's why for me, this Deepal S07 is a go try. It's still got plenty of usability, it's still got decent tech on the inside, good range, and very comfortable. It's a very good everyday car, I feel. That's why it's a go try. So that's it. That's our review of this Deepal S07. What do you think? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Let us know down in the comments below, as well as any other car or any other feature about this car that you'd like to see. Do leave it in the comments and I'll read every single one of these. Now, if you've made it this far, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our future uploads. And lastly, do follow us on TikTok for the fun stuff. We are at Sgcarmart. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. So the Deepal S07, what does it feel like? Now over by the side of the Deepal S7, Now over by the rear, things start to really look like a